You always look for a little bit of a bubble behind the speed where there isn't a whole lot of pressure. You're not necessarily surrounded, so they can be a little bit more relaxed. But everybody wants that. I think you try to save some ground first turn because you might have to circle the second turn. And you can't be wide both turns and win. Even really good horses. Big Brown did it, but he went to the lead, and saved ground the second turn. You just can't. If you're wide first turn, you've got to cut the corner second turn before we get through. So post position will determine a whole lot of that. But you'd like to not be more than 3 or 4 wide and in a real comfortable rhythm and without being ears pinned and being throttled back by the jock or just uncomfortable surrounded with horses. That's up to the jock.
I would say a lot of jocks. It depends on a lot of people talk about the speed of this field.
Yeah.
Do you expect it to be that fast?
It's not going to be a half and 45 fast. I think it's 46 and 3, just 47 and a tick somewhere. I mean, they're good, honest, high cruising speed horses without being bullets. Dortmund and American Pharaoh and Firing Line, the 3 California horses. All can kind of turn it on. Firing Line went 45 and change, and Dortmund went pretty fast. I don't think that happens this time, but I wish it will. I mean, I'd love it to happen. Have a few of them hooked up and go 22 and change or 45 and change. I think that would serve us pretty well.
Back to this horse, when he had his little fever and things, was it pretty much just a little blip where you guys were like, oh, this is, not such a huge deal? I mean, I know you missed a little bit of time, or were you seriously concerned?
Oh, you were until it was behind you, because you just don't know where those things are going. If the fever bounces back, if you don't get the infection under control. Sinus can be a really, really problematic thing. Circulation isn't great there. They can get walled off abscesses up there. You can actually have to drill holes into sinuses to drain them if they get out of control. So until it's over, you're trying to pull out everything that you can to get it resolved. And then it was 3 days. But when it first happened, you just don't know where it's going to go. We weren't confirmed that it was a sinus to really the second and third day. It could have been just a symptom of a big respiratory thing. And if that had happened, we wouldn't be here.
So how happy are you that you are here?
I'm tickled pink. It's been, other than the quality of the field, which, believe me, guys can talk about being the sportsman, going to prove I want to run against the worst horses possible, and there are too many good horses here.
Well, having a New York bred in the field, last year you were here with Samrat. Talk about the strength of that program.
It's there are 3 New York breds in this year's Derby. I mean, International Star just wins. He just finds a way to win. George Weaver's horse Transcendo is a nice horse. He looks like he's going in the right direction, and that's what 3-year-olds do this time of year. They can improve leaps and bounds. Last year, Samrat and was Contessa's horse, Uncle Si. So we had a champion, day at the Spa this year. Won 2 Breeders' Cup races, the sprint and the turf. So it's a seriously improved program, and the bar has been being set pretty high.
You've run 2 other horses in the Derby, right, in the past, Reed Footnotes and Samrat. What about the experience and how that helps you this year?
Yeah, it's things come a little easier. There was a big gap between Read the Footnotes and Samrat, so it was a little bit new all over again last year. I didn't have to look twice for the barn this year. We came in the same barn, and it makes some of the logistical things a lot easier. But all the other stuff is still pretty high intensity. It's heart attack serious. This horse doesn't get to run here again in the Derby, and the Evans are just wonderful, long-time clients over 20 years, and it's terrific that they get to experience this. So the pressure's still there. You just maybe handle it a little differently.
You had a real thrill last year. I think you mentioned about when you saw Samrat running.
Yeah, we were the only one that, we kind of tracked California Chrome, and turning for home, it looked like we might get our head in front and then kind of grind it home. He looked like he had, if California Chrome had folded, it looked like we had a big shot. But even Read the Footnotes here, at the half-mile pole, we were right behind Smarty Jones, and the jock Robbie Alvarado hadn't asked him to run yet, and I mean, it looked like we could inhale him, and then he got hurt in the race, and we kind of just grinded home. So, if you get me to that spot Saturday without having asked them to run yet, I'll sign right now.
You mentioned, this field and the quality of it. How important is that draw tonight?
I think it's critical they're inside is a little bit more onerous than the outside. I mean, big brown one from the 20. The auxiliary gates had a bunch of winners over the last 10 years. So that it's the one hole, it's two hole probably problematic. I mean, you can win from anywhere, but I think it's probably critical. I mean, you'd rather not be an extreme inside outside and then deal with the rest.
Rick, are you sold on American Pharoah yet in Dortmund?
They're really good horses. I mean, Dortmund's a little bit more battle tested. He's won a couple of heart attack photos, and I don't know how you knock American Pharoah. He's obviously very talented. Now he has to, this is a different game, even for good horses. The best horse doesn't always win. Saturday, you need the trip. You need to be right. He's going to have more company than he ever had up front, whether he's on the lead or laying third. The intensity of that pressure is going to be totally different. So, I don't know that I'd trade, but if they wanted to walk him over to me and take him home, I'll say yes. He's a pretty nice horse.
Where do you want Upstart when they turn from?
Again, it's depending on the pace. I think if they're going 47, we'd like to be 4, 5, 6 lengths behind it. If they're going 46 and 1, then we're probably going to be further back. And also it tends if somebody's loose on the lead, or if there's 3 or 4 packed, all wanting the other one to go first, and that could happen. A lot of times when that happens, they go in 47 and 4. So you have to be ready. We were in absolutely the right spot last year. 47 and change, and we were a few lengths off of that. So. It's a little bit hard to say. We're going to be behind the speed in that second phalanx, and how close or how far back will be determined on how fast they go in that first quarter.
Where does this horse rank compared to the other ones you've brought in? Do you feel like he's your best shot?
He's probably a combination of both. I mean, Read the Footnotes was brilliantly fast. He had run a huge race in Fountain of Youth, probably the best number that year. But he had some physical issues. Samrat just gave you every ounce of ability and try from his tip of his nose to his tail. He just laid it on the line. There was nothing left. This horse has been pretty resolute too. So he's got a little combination of both. They're all pretty special. They've been good to me. Samrat, is pretty cool. The homebred by the stallion and all of that. It was great for the Rigios and for my Meadowview. And like I said, Read the Footnotes was, unfortunately he didn't run after that, but he was a very, very talented horse. So this is he might be the combination of both. If 4 or 5 or 6 of these talented horses weren't in here, he might be my best shot. If this horse was running last year, he'd be first, second, third choice with the numbers that he's run. But we're not running last year. So it's this year, and there are a lot of very, very talented horses.
Has he rebounded okay from the hiccup he had in Florida?
Yeah, that's not an issue.
Is it a non-issue now?
None. Blood's been good. His breezes have been great. He's energy level's been terrific. His appetite's been good. He's held his weight. If there's another variable or another measure I'm supposed to measure him by, I don't know. But all those tests, he's passed with flying colors. So.
What gives you confidence that he might win this race?
It's not even confidence. He's doing great. He always shows up, and if we get a decent trip, we're very, very dangerous. He's run sheet-wise. He's run faster than everybody, and a couple of times. So whether it's Thoroughgraph or the Rags or whatever, and there's only one buyer number higher, then and he's got a lot of backup even from his 2-year-old year. So he ran some very fast numbers back then. So there's a possibility his best is yet to come.
Maybe he got his bad luck out of the way in Florida.
I hope so.
You kind of wonder what else could happen now.
Don't say that. We'll invent something, you know.
No, but I mean, just the thing, and you kind of got it coming and going. You got the DQ, and then when your man was trying to lodge the objection, then you couldn't even he couldn't even get that down. It just wasn't
Ridiculous.
It was frustrating, and I was pretty quiet for the 5 weeks between the Fountain of Youth, and I couldn't contain myself after the Florida Derby. It was just
You did have the line of the spring about the fastest time of the day being the stewards going to the elevator.
There was one guy that commented, he did say, he said, I never liked Rick Violette, but now I'm rooting for Upstart. So,
I was yelling at my TV. I was like, "Come on!"
that was brutal, but you know, we turn the page pretty quickly in this game. You have to. We lose a lot more than we win, and you know, we'd be hanging from the rafters if we didn't do that. So.
What's it say about the New York bred program that you have 3 of them in this race?
I think it's exceptional. I mean, it's just, you know, for years I think we were probably treading water as far as quality concerned, and they tweaked some of the program, and some substantial people jumped in the water and willing to, you know, Chester Broman, you know, he I don't know anybody has better pedigrees, period. And people like Barry Schwartz and everything, it helped step it up. It's, you know, it's still, they need to increase the full crop, which is happening, but it's no longer a subsidy just for kind of backyard stallions and mares. It's a real program that's producing, you know, world-class horses.
When you look at this field, the consistency of these horses, I mean, they're good, but they're also really consistent. And,
They are.
And they haven't really had a lot of inner sort of regional rivalries, other than Frosted going to New York. So it's kind of hard to judge
It is.
how good
that's
the
what
regions are.
Supposedly, we'll see if the sheets are worth the money that you pay for them. You know, that's what they're supposed to, you know, kind of be the objective comparison. But it's true, you know, California, Arkansas stayed out there, and the Midwest stayed there, and the East Coast. But I think the same 5 or 6 horses kept, you know, just being a little bit better than the rest. But the dangerous thing is, I mean, even like I said, George Weaver's horses that are improving are very dangerous because they improve, you know, 5 lengths in a race, you know, and that's why it's a fun time of year. Sometimes, you know, that's why, you know, some horses fly under the radar until Saturday.